I don't know, Radry. Anyway, we're live. I think we're live. Let me make sure everything's working here.
Definitely live. I can feel
We're
it.
definitely live. You can feel it.
I can feel it, and there's a big red button thing saying live for the last 10 seconds.
Okay, we're live. All right.
I can feel it.
Hey, it's that time again for the Why Come Japan show. I'm your host, Mr. Radry, where I interview creatives inside or outside Japan. And today I take you all the way to Sendai, or through computer screens through Sendai.
Yes. Welcome to Sendai, ladies and gentlemen. This is a Sendai bookshelf. This is a paper screen in Sendai. This is a cup, which I've just discovered has a face on it. And it's absolutely terrifying. Look at that. Do you know who that is?
Who is that? For our audio listeners, Chris is holding up a cup that has... It looks like Natsuki a little bit.
It looks like E.T. and Natsuki had a child.
Child?
Yeah. Basically, for Christmas, some viewers sent me some gifts, and one of them was this mug. And I forgot that it's a mug that, as you heat it, as it gets hot, a face appears in it, and a face of Natsuki has appeared quite by surprise, and it's horrible.
Huh.
No offense.
It reminds me of I don't know if you were here during that time, but like, you know how the UFO catcher machines, they always like change out the items inside of there. Yeah. One time they had toilet paper, like was written by the guy who wrote, Ringu or the Sadako movie, and he wrote the entire story on toilet paper.
That's amazing.
I forgot where it is.
Books. What's this stupid books when we can have toilet rolls everywhere?
I'll send you one. I still have another one if you want it. If you want to just make a video about it. I bought two for some odd reason.
What a great thing to win. Usually I just win some reasonably priced mediocre chocolate. That would be amazing.
Chips inside the UFO catcher sometimes. Like, really? That's the best gift you could put in there. I guess I should probably introduce my guest if nobody knows who he is. He's strong zero aficionado, fried chicken connoisseur, coffee drinker, interesting video maker. I guess I have to ask about that with the interesting videos that you make for the YouTube machine. Do you often have like a checklist when you make those? Well, I should probably say your name is Abroad in Japan. There you go. For case anybody's like who stumbled across this and has, who lives in, I don't know. Where's a place where nobody would know who you are?
Somalia. And I did make a joke about Somalia once in a video, and then I got a viewer from Somalia who was like, "How dare you make fun of my country?" And that was the point I realized that there were viewers in every country. So there's no escape. At least one person every country on earth has hopefully watched an Abroad in Japan video, for better or worse. Yes.
What would you say is the number one video?
In the comments has been very clever and said Britain. Nobody knows you in Britain. A worrying amount of people know me there.
Yeah. Well, you're saying like in another podcast, I think it was like Deep Dive podcast with the Japan Times, that you say you don't like going out in public sometimes, particularly Tokyo.
No, you know what? It's jarring and strange sometimes because I am in the middle of nowhere. Like now, I mean, Sendai is not technically the middle of nowhere, but it's not that many foreigners around. But, when you go to Tokyo, I do bump into people like 10, 15, 20 times a day. Huh. And I've never had an encounter where I've lost my temper with anyone or where it's gone bad. I love it. I love meeting viewers and hearing their story, why they came to Japan, what they're doing. But if you are having a bad day, and I've had times where I've got off an airplane after a 12-hour flight, landed in London, gone into the washroom and like splashed water all over my face, and I look like I've come out of a fucking horror film. And then someone will go, "Chris?" And I'll be like, "No, not now. Oh God, hello." And I love talking to them. It's great. But when if you're in the wrong place of mind at that point, it's not good. But you adapt to it and you get over it. But no, I do like meeting people. And I was just come back from the Sapporo Snow Festival where I was for 3 days, and I spoke to more viewers there than I've ever done in a 2 or 3 day period, to at least 150 viewers walking around, and I loved it. It was really fun. It's always great to hear people's stories. That's one of the best parts of doing YouTube. Right. I don't want to give the impression that I'm like this grumpy person where if you meet me, I'm going to be like, "Fuck off! How dare you talk to me?" Like I've always been composed with viewers, and I think I handle it all right. I
You
know
don't
I can
have
be snarky
like
and sarcastic, but I'm a normal guy at the end of the day.
right. Well, you know how with some famous people, like uh, for lack of a better example, like the TV show Dexter.
Yeah, I know. I've never seen it though. I've always wanted to watch it. My mate literally told me the entire plot once at a coffee shop, and
Oh,
I really
really?
want to watch it. Is it the guy who is a murderer but's also a forensic scientist or something?
Yeah, he's also a
He's a
forensic scientist.
psychopath. He's killing people that are bad.
Right. Well, because people would see him in public and they're like, "Hey, can you pretend you're killing us?" you know, like I don't know if they have a thing with you. Like, "Hey, could you? Do you have anything they like request from you?"
Not really, just a selfie.
That's it.
I've never been an encounter where you don't end up in a selfie. Even if you have flown for 12 hours and you look like crap, you have to do the selfie.
Huh.
But I got some heat the other day. I did my first live show in Sapporo, the Sapporo Snow Festival. I did my first live show in public. I walked down the street holding an iPhone on a stick, which is not a great fun thing to do necessarily. And it's so intense. There were 2,000 people on it. And I'm trying to host this live show whilst people in real time are watching the show and actually bumping into me in the park and coming over, giving me beers, chatting to me, which was great. There's a really nice German guy turned up because I've been complaining at the first part of the live show. I'd said, "Oh, I really want a drink. I've started this live show. I need a drink, but I can't get one while I'm filming." And about 10 minutes later, this German guy turned up and was like, "Oh, okay, a beer." And I was like, "Yes, this is amazing. Thanks, man." And I chatted to him for a minute or two, but then I had to get back to the live show and I had to kind of be like, "Oh, sorry, mate. I just have to do the live show." And some people were like, "You are so mean. You're so awful to people."
Come on, man.
Honestly, really, that's not fair. I was on ice, literally abroad in Japan on ice, trying not to fucking fall over. It was -5. I had 2,000 people to try and engage in a live show, the first I'd ever done in public, and people were talking to me in real life, and it was so intense and jarring and confusing. And I thought a few people thought
That's
I
what you
I was
wanted to
rude.
hear.
Yeah,
Okay.
and but a few people thought I was rude, and that's the first time that I ever felt offended or upset by comments that people thinking I was rude when I don't think I am. I know I'm snarky and a dickhead on camera, but in real life, I like to think I'm nice, normal, relatively polite person. Yeah.
Right. Well, I
Great
mean, what
experience.
was it with live streaming? It just feels like it's so much at one moment. Takes a while
Oh
to
yeah,
get used to. Like the first time I did this kind of show, it really freaked me out. Like, whoa,
yeah.
making me really self-conscious.
It
Like,
is. It can be pretty intense, and especially if you're on the go, moving. Like I've done live shows like this before, and it's nice sitting in a chair with a bit of coffee. It's great, but when you're walking down the street, it's really intense. But I enjoyed it so much that I'm definitely going to do it again. I will make it into a thing going forward. So.
right, right. So let's talk about the origins of what led to this interview today. So this
Yeah.
all started like when I noticed there was a notification on my phone saying "Abroad in Japan followed you back." I'm like, what? I'm like, this can't be right. Like, this must be like some Russian bot or something. And so, and I went to it and like, no, it's really him. It's really Chris Broad. So I guess I have to ask, what brought me to your uh Twitter, my Twitter handle?
Free publicity. I thought, yes, I could be on a live show and get some free. No, I am. I've seen your
That's why
videos for years
why
now.
come to Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been doing this for a long time, and that's something you look for as a creator. If you are going to be in an interview or do any sort of collaboration, you look for people who are consistent. And I've seen your videos pop up for years. You've done great interviews with people like Hika Simon, Patrick Saint Michel from Japan Times. I like the one you did with Mayday San the other week. But yeah, you've been around for ages, and I really respect that. And I thought. I mean, I didn't think, oh, let's do a live show there and then. I think you messaged me and I said, hey, man, you're awesome. If you want to do something in the future, let me know. You said, do you want to do a live show? I said, yes. And that was it. Yeah.
Mm.
I think there's this myth, isn't there, that if you are a big YouTuber, you're untouchable. If you have over, a few 100,000 subscribers. And it's not untrue. I suppose, I do know a lot of YouTubers who will not under 100,000 subscribers or something ridiculous like that. But at the end of the day, YouTube's a great way to meet people and make friends.
Yeah, it really is. I mean,
I don't discriminate on the number of subscribers. I discriminate on the color of your character. And if you've done something consistent well for years, as you have, then it's only a matter of time before people reach out to you. So
right.
yeah,
So I guess we're not going to be seeing you on Logan Paul's podcast anytime soon, right?
probably not. No.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're going to judge people based on their character, that's yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to be associated with him either. So,
Well, no, I mean, I remember when he did when he was in the Aokigahara Forest, and I worried that he'd seen my Aokigahara Forest before that because he said a line in his one that sounded identical to something I'd said in my one. I thought, oh God, did he watch my video in preparation for going to the forest?
I was inspired by abroad in Japan to make this video.
We'll never know. But after he did all the terrible stuff, filming the body in the woods and terrorizing half of Tokyo, I was on Japanese TV, Mezamashi Terebi, the biggest morning television show. They came to my apartment and interviewed me about what I think about Logan Paul, and it was really surreal. So I got something out of Logan Paul being a dickhead, and also that same week, literally, I think 2 or 3 days before Logan Paul did what he did, I released a video called 12 Things Not to Do in Japan. And that video went viral. It's now my biggest video with like 10 million views or something ridiculous. And like every other comment on that was, don't be Logan Paul, don't be Logan Paul. It was so lucky that video came out just before that happened. But it's a it's a good example of, how something terrible can be played, can work to your benefit, even if it was completely unplanned.
So you had your viral moment, quote unquote.
Yes. Well, I think it was mainly the topic of the video. It's one of those topics, isn't it, that always does well. What not to do in Japan.
That's true. I think what's her name? Rachel and June has a video on that as well.
I don't think there's a single creator that doesn't have a video about it somewhere in their history, apart from you, maybe.
Yeah, I don't want to make J-vlogging content. Like, I thought long and hard about this, and I'm like, it just seems like I mean, I know this is your creme de la creme, but is that the right term? I don't know.
It is the right term.
This is your thing. Can I say that?
Every time someone calls me a J-vlogger, I'm instantly sick all over their face. I hate the fucking term J-vlog.
Weren't you saying like you hate the word vlogger?
Because I mean, right? I J-vlog. It puts you in a category that's been stained by the history of certain individuals who aren't good. I don't like it. I don't like to be put into a category of something. I'll admit that I'm a vlogger, I'm a video maker living in Japan. And also I don't like to see myself as a vlogger because I'm a snobby, terrible person. I always like to see myself as an aspiring filmmaker, right? Who's
video
kind of on the path towards doing something, a documentary filmmaker. To me, vlogs are a little bit lazy. But I don't know, I feel like the J-vlog, that term has been dragged through dirt over the years. There was once a blossoming community and it kind of fragmented and failed and went down the pan.
Right. Well, it seems like a lot of people are starting to take it a little bit more seriously, because I remember when I first started doing it in 2009, actually the school you went and gave a lecture at, or a workshop, Temple University. I'm alumni at. And when I started doing it in 2009, people were saying stuff like, oh, he does this quirky thing called YouTube, and he makes the videos, and he talks to people. And like, no, nobody says that anymore. Everybody has different image of YouTube.
Absolutely. I mean, I hate the word influencer. Somebody, if somebody calls me an influencer, I can't deal with that. That sounds horrible. I met someone who was an incredible photographer, and I said, what do you want to do? And I was expecting him to go, I want to do photography. I'm into my art. I'd like to do cinematography. He went, no, I want to be an influencer. And I said, don't say that. Why would you want to be it? Horrible, isn't it? That sounds so manipulative and shit. I just hate it. And don't be an influencer. There's nothing about that. It's just be something else. Be something more. Be a photographer. Be a filmmaker. Be a writer. Be an artist. Don't be an influencer. Don't want to be an influencer.
I want to start an email service that sends viruses to people. There you go. All right. So usually when I go on vacation somewhere, I try to scour the internet for all things that I want to do. Like I end up on websites like TripAdvisor and the like, and they all include like the same categories to do or see, or hotels to stay at, or things to eat and such. And I was looking at, some of your popular uploads, and they seem to be like perfect video companions to a lot of these categories. Was this like
Right.
intentional, or were they just topics you really, really wanted to talk about?
I mean, do you have any videos in mind that you're talking about that I've done there? I mean,
Uh,
I,
like,
I don't really. I mean, my dream. There was a point once upon a time where I like the idea of having a big map of Japan, right? And you could look at that map, and every single part of that map would have at least one video from the Abroad in Japan channel, where you could click on it and you could watch it and you could see it. And the reason I wanted that was because when I came, 2012, a few years after yourself, there wasn't a lot on YouTube about Japan. There were a few vloggers like Tokyo Kuni, who you of course interviewed,
yeah.
but there wasn't really much going on. And certainly where I was going in Yamagata Prefecture, I remember typing that in, looking for information, and the only thing I saw was Yamagata has cherries, and I was like, oh, brilliant!
Wait, did you try to look for Japanese?
Around the world? I didn't know Japanese at the time.
Oh, yeah.
It was all just English. And Lonely Planet and all the other guidebooks didn't bother covering Tohoku, North Japan at all. It was just not on the map, apart from cherries. Like there was a whole, you'd have a whole guidebook about Japan, and about 30% of it would be Kyoto, 40% of it would be Tokyo, and the other, the other 30% of it would just be everywhere else in between. But it was very rarely the north. And I thought, it would be quite fun to be able to build up this portfolio of videos where you could see pretty much any corner of Japan. And I'm actually rolling out a website in a few weeks. It's still undergoing a few things, bits and pieces, but on that website, which is just a kind of a place where you can see all the Abroad in Japan videos, there is a map, and on that map it's covered in all the dots where you can see all the videos, and that feels like my dream has kind of been realized in one way or another. So I'm quite excited about that coming out. And yeah, I guess that's the main reason though.
So the motivation was basically like, I wonder what this place looks like and what I can learn.
Effectively. I mean, yeah, definitely. I'm someone who always looks at a mountain and thinks, that's cool. What's the other side of that? I want to know. I want to go there. I want to drive. So I've been lucky. I've visited at least, how many? There's 47 prefectures in Japan, I think, 47. And I've visited about 39 of them. So I think I've got 7 or 8 left to go. But yeah, I've been very lucky to see a lot of Japan, and it's kind of fun to take people along for the journey as a vlogger and as a filmmaker.
Right. I remember one of your videos where you were saying, like, I can't remember exactly. I think it was like a listicle video that you made, but it like one of them was like the things that you love about Japan. And one of them is like sometimes you visit these places in Japan and then you discover something. You're like, what is that? And and it just completely fascinates you.
Well, yeah, I feel like a lot of people coming to Japan, they come for 2 weeks. Unfortunately, you do the same things, right? You go to Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, you go to the temple, you take a photo in front of the temple and go, yeah. And there's a crowd of 1 million people, and you don't really feel anything other than, wow, it's Japan. But you don't feel anything here. But out here in the countryside where I live, you can hop in a car, fuck off into the mountains, find your own temple, and there'll be like one person there, and you can feel something. You can sit in silence on a bench on the mountainside with a beautiful view and a temple, and you can reflect and think and feel something in a way that most tourists don't get to do. And so that's another reason I do the videos out in the countryside. We can try and pull people out. We can get them going off the beaten path and trying something new, because the best holidays are where you experience something profound, not just being dragged through Tokyo, riding the Ginza line between Shibuya and Akasaka backwards and forwards over and over. Sorry, Asaka.
Right. So I'm a bit curious, like when you approach a subject that you're really interested in, like what kind of forms of storytelling do you like apply to your videos in general? Because I noticed like with your last video, the drifting one, there's like there's a what is it? There's a drone shot. There's a reaction shot of you in the car. Obviously, that's like a GoPro or something, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, no. In the car, it was a nightmare. I was filming. Most people use a GoPro, right? So we're drifting at 160 kilometers per hour around this track. First time I've ever done anything like that. I didn't know how to film it, and I stupidly didn't bring a GoPro. So I've got my big camera like on a little tripod. I'm trying to hold it as the car's going all over the place, and I'm holding it so hard, and it's still going like this. But luckily, we had a drone going as well, and I could intercut it with that. I did some of the drone shots myself, but by sheer good luck, there was a really nice bloke, I think he was from the US or Australia there, that day, and he was just filming with his drone as well, and he was filming my laps, and then afterwards I paid him some money and he gave me the footage. So that was really lucky.
Wow.
Otherwise,
yeah.
I don't know how that would have looked. I don't know how I would have cut it together. But yeah, no. As for me, I do try and look for a narrative. You do want to have some sort of narrative in any video, right? There needs to be a beginning, a middle, and an end, and there has to be some sort of structure to make it work.
Who would you say has like kind of really inspired you, like, or helped you like make like the direction of your videos? Like, well, I wrote the question here was, shit, which one is it? It's one of them here. Like, what was like? I know this is like the shitty interview question you ask. Like, you go, "Who was somebody that influenced you to make your videos?"
I mean, I don't really have any influences that are from YouTube itself. They're usually, you know, British TV and stuff. I like Top Gear. That probably influenced my editing style on the recent drifting video.
Top Gear, okay.
Top Gear. One of my favorite shows was Screen Wipe in the UK by Charlie Brooker, and he's a great critic and satirist. And he actually wrote Black Mirror. He's the writer behind all of Black Mirror. But before that,
I'm a big Black Mirror fan.
Yeah, I mean, before that, I used to just sit on a sofa and take the piss out of TV and films, and I loved that. So my influences all come from television. They don't come from YouTube. I don't really watch a lot of YouTube myself. I never really got into it. Like I said, I'm a bit of a snobby person. I can't really watch a vlog unless there is some degree of editing, because a lot of vlogs are kind of spontaneous, right? They're in real life vlogging. You walk down the street, you film what you're doing. I can see why people like that, but it's never really appealed to me. I don't know. I feel like time's limited, and the only videos I watch are the ones that have had, you know, that have been kind of scripted out and planned in advance. So I don't feel like I'm wasting my time.
It's kind of Richard. Was it Richard? What's his name? Attenberg. I get this kind of feel to it. Yeah, very much so to a lot of your kind of the Abroad in Japan channel videos.
I'll take that's a great compliment. I'll have that.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I like some of his stuff as well. I mean, it's kind of like where he's a character in the show. Like I was watching another documentary series that was about Japan, actually. I quite like. It was Japanorama by Jonathan Ruse, I think his name is.
Oh, Jonathan Ross.
Or Ross?
Yeah,
okay.
That was pretty good.
Ruse.
Jonathan Ruse. What's his Ruse? His Ruse. Yeah, that was good. He loves Japan. I think the best shows that you see about Japan are the ones where the presenter actually has an interest in Japanese culture and knows a little bit. Like there was one recently with James May from Top Gear, of Top Gear fame, or the Grand Tour. And it's called James May's Man in Japan. And he traveled the country for, I think, 5 or 6 episodes, but he knew all about Japan and he had a deep appreciation for the culture, as Jonathan Ross did. The worst shows are the ones where they take a presenter who doesn't know anything about Japan, they walk them through Shibuya Crossing, and they go, "Oh, it's different, amazing. Oh, it's so busy. Oh, yeah," and that's literally all they do. And I can't. It drives me mad.
I remember I used to watch some of these shows where they used to come to Japan back in the 90s or maybe early 2000s, and they'd always film these large crowds, and they say things like, "Isn't this exciting?" Okay, I guess so.
I'd say like 9 times out of 10, every TV show I've seen set in Japan, they start at Shibuya Crossing, and Shibuya's all right. There's some cool stuff there, but there's way more to Japan than Shibuya Crossing. And what I liked about James May's recent show, Man in Japan, the opening shot, he's just standing in front of a boat or something in the middle of a frozen lake in Hokkaido. It doesn't even look like Japan, but at least it's original and it's just him, you know, out doing something original and refreshing, rather than, oh, it's just so different. Oh, it's so busy and there's lights and there's a road that's busy. Wow, Japan. So it's just
you can really tell when somebody cares about something they're talking about. It's definitely like a difference in tone to the video. Okay, so you've mentioned on your Abroad in Japan podcast that you were interested in creating your own short film. I assume this would be a fictional story. Like, is there any stories that you want to tell?
I'm not so sure, really. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. Thinking of a good original narrative. I don't want to go out and just make a crappy short film for the sake of it. I don't know.
Like the Pete Donaldson one you made in Osaka. That was kind of fun.
Pete stumbling around Osaka. I think it'd be quite fun to do something with Natsuki. for those that don't know, that are listening for the first time, I've got a crazy, erratic Japanese friend called Natsuki. He is the most eccentric man I've met in Japan so far. And I just love putting him in wild and wacky situations. I nearly killed him the other day with some hot sauce.
Oh, right. I saw that.
First we feast, the last dab, his mouth burst into flames. It was hilarious. I loved it. I'd love to do a short film with him doing something. Maybe like walking around Osaka at night or in Tokyo. But, the main thing with a short film, you need a plot, don't you? And that's something I haven't sat down to think about.
One of my friends had like the greatest idea for a short film. I think actually he's a former guest on the show, Atomic Boy X, FYI Tokyo, but he was saying you should do a short film where, I don't know if you've ever been to a convenience store where you watch some of these Japanese people where they go in and they read the ingredients on whatever it is they're buying, and they take forever. And they're just carefully reading it. And then sometimes they look at it and then they put it back. They put it back on the shelf. And then they come back 5 minutes later, they pick it back up again. They start looking at it again. And I'm like thinking, what is their inner monologue saying to them right now? Like are they saying something like, how would I look eating this? Would my wife feel bad if I was eating
Yeah, I mean, what would the narrative be? Just them just walking through looking at some chocolates going, sugar, 20% content. I don't know what you do with that, but that'd be a fun little sketch. Definitely. That's
the only like kind of a short film I guess I could think of that would work. I think I've had other ideas for short films because I have some filmmaking buddies and filmmaking friends. So
it's the hardest part of making a film, I think, or doing anything. Thinking up an original story with a plot twist that is rewarding at the end of it. Especially if you've got a short film where it's only between 5 to 20 minutes, you've got to cram something in. I've not yet succeeded in thinking up something good. Hopefully, if someone in the live comments watching this can give us ideas, let us know. Give us some ideas. Give me an idea that I can steal.
Speaking of things that aren't your normal content, like the short film, have you ever felt like doing something completely off-brand? Like that's not something you normally do?
What would your definition of off-brand be?
I don't know. You review Japanese films, or you do an ASMR channel, or
well, I mean, we did. It's a good question. I suppose
you start doing mukbang or something.
The Abroad Japan channel is very defined, isn't it? It's just me in Japan doing stuff. That's why I set up a second channel a few years ago, which I've started getting it back and up and running recently. And the second channel, Abroad Perspective, that's where I stick more spontaneous experimental videos. Like I did do an ASMR video with Natsuki.
Right.
Did an ASMR video. He sat down and he read out a list of 20 famous people he'd want to go with on a picnic. But he fucked up all the names. So it was written down like Hugh Jackman, and he went to the microphone and went Hugh Jackson, and like just screwed up all the names in ways that I can comprehend. I think he read out James Bond 007 as James Bond 007, things like that, and I like that. And I did another one so I try and experiment on that channel and do things I wouldn't normally do. I did another one where it's just me sitting the other side of a room in a traditional Japanese inn. I'm just sitting alone on the far side of the room, but I'm wearing a radio mic so I can talk. So you can hear me really clearly. And that was just an experiment to see what that would look like and if you could still make a vlog by being so far away from the camera, because usually you have to be up close, right?
Right.
So I guess the second channel is my test bed for things and ideas. And originally, when I started my channel, I wanted it to be a comedy channel, not a channel necessarily about Japan.
Right.
But over the years, I've kind of gone more towards being a travel channel. By virtue of that is what people want, I think. Although I'm kind of going back to the old way right now. I'm in the process of scripting more comedy content because that's the sort of content that I really love making. Originally I was just abroad in Japan. I was just a guy living in Japan, but the brand is so synonymous with all things Japan now that I'm less a part of it in many ways. So I need to sort that out.
Wouldn't you argue that that's what people want to see more of Japan? And I mean, people have often told me this. They say, well, they want to see more of Japan and less of you. Not you particularly. I'm just saying me as like a creator, you know?
Yeah. Well, I've worked that out. It's taken me a long time to work that out. But yeah, I think what people want is just me in a room talking about things. Those videos always do much better. They get way more likes and they do better. At the same time, it would be a bit limiting, right? You know, you want to go out, you want to do new things. You know, I like to experience new stuff. So I'm trying to get the balance right from now on. So the next video I've got coming out is just me sitting here talking about my time as a teacher in Japan, all the bad shit that happened. And I think it's quite a fun video. It's one of the funniest videos I've probably made in a long time. And then after that, I've got a travel video. And then after that, I'm going to make another one, just me sitting in the room talking about weird Japanese English, like Japanese weird English marketing. So I'm going to try and get the balance more this year.
Right.
It's important to get that. But yeah, I think you're right, though. People do want to see the creator more. Depends on the channel, though. Certain channels do it better without the presenter.
Huh. Well, let me ask you this. Is there anything that you consider to be like Japan content that's evergreen? Evergreen meaning like it's it's perfect all year round. Like you can upload it anytime and it's always a successful video. Is there anything that, like you said, like that's your go-to topics?
There's loads. I'd say like capsule hotel videos. I've never seen a capsule hotel video.
What is up with that? I don't get the appeal.
People sitting in a small capsule. It's all a bit odd. Right. But people love that. So if you go out and do that tomorrow, 1 million views, job done. It's insane. True. Like I did it once and it went viral and I didn't know why. But like every creator I've seen that's done a capsule hotel video always gets 1 million views. Second, I'd say love hotel videos. They always do well. I've done 2. They've both gone viral, both got millions of views, as have all the other creators I know. Food videos, Eric in the comments says, food videos. Wagyu, videos about Wagyu beef always get millions of views. Videos about what not to do in Japan. Of course, I'm guilty of that. I said earlier.
Okay. I guess this question is obvious.
Well, I think it's not necessarily obvious, but it's something I've had to think about a lot as a creator.
Right.
I always tried. My previous strategy was always to make videos that were evergreen, not time sensitive. You could watch it 3 years later and it would still work. And I think it's a good strategy for any new creator because you can quickly build up a portfolio of videos that will stand the test of time.
Very true. Yeah.
And we've seen creators like Paolo from Tokyo, Day in My Life series. That series. That's mental, isn't it? How well that's
I actually have not seen a single episode. I should watch one of those.
Well, I've not really watched a single episode. I kind of flick through it. They always come up everywhere, but that was really interesting. That taught me that is something people want to see. They consistently do well. Not that I'll do it. I think he's already nailed that. He can do that. I'll do something else.
Huh. All right. So you've previously said I've previously said that the Broad in Japan show is like the gold standard in terms of like what a foreigner in Japan content should look like. Like when people ask me, do you agree that you've what's that?
What's your definition of gold standard?
What I mean, like if you're gonna make a good video on Japan or like some sort of introduction video on Japan, it should look something like what the way to Broad in Japan does it. Because I mean, that's just my opinion, but do you feel like you agree you've made some of the best foreigner in Japan videos while you've been here?
I think the Abroad Japan channel, there is a lot of good stuff on there. I did used to put a lot of effort, and I still do, into the videos. You know, I don't just sit in a room, bash out a video in an afternoon and upload it. There's a careful process. The teaching English video, right, coming out hopefully tomorrow. Fingers crossed, it better fucking come out. I've only got myself to blame.
Aren't you in control of this?
No, I'm so stupid. I'll think things through too much. I'll script it and I'll look at it and I'll be like, yeah. Then I'll film it. Then I'll watch it. Then I'll go, no, it's shit. I'll re-script it and film it again. And that's the kind of process that goes into it. It's
You're at war with yourself, basically.
I'm at war with myself. Okay. And I see every video as a project, right? It's not a quick disposable thing. It's something that needs to stand the test of time. It needs to be something that works in 5 years. It still needs to be funny. It needs to be educational. It needs to tick certain boxes. There needs to be like a joke every 20 seconds. There needs to be educational, tangible information. So you walk away feeling like, that was funny, but I learned something. And I'm amazed how many YouTubers don't do that, because that's the simplest thing. Make it kind of witty, but also have a point. So viewers walk away feeling like they've learned something. And that's my formula. And because I started YouTube back when I was a teacher, the first 3 years of YouTube, I only made like one video every 5 weeks, I think.
Right.
Just by virtue, I was busy teaching English to students that didn't want to learn English. And I had no choice but to take videos that would be good, because if I made just quick rubbish videos, then I'd just get lost, and they wouldn't do well. They wouldn't work against other YouTube channels. The thing that I had, the USP, unique selling point of abroad in Japan, was that all the videos were well edited, because they had to be to succeed and stand out, really. Yeah.
Right. So you used to be a jet, and you were
I used to be an
jet.
airplane. I'd fly around.
Used to be an airplane. Yes. Word to the wise, folks. You heard it here.
Definitely.
Was it Japan exchange teacher? Is it what's that stand for again? I don't even remember.
Japan exchange teaching program.
Japan exchange teacher program thing. And so you used to be part of JET, and you were, I want to say stationed. I don't think that's the right word. You were placed. You were placed up in Sendai, right?
No, I was based in Yamagata, which is the.
Oh, that's right, Yamagata. That's right.
West Coast. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I was going to ask you, so at what point did you start to realize, like, hey, I can quit this English job and I can start doing YouTube full time? Was there any moment, or like, finally? Because that's what I would say.
Well, I think I never expected YouTube to really take off for me. I didn't think it would.
Right. Well, I don't think anybody does, really.
No, I guess not. It's quite a weird thing to experience. But I remember when I said to myself in the second year, when I had, I think I had about 10, 15, 20,000 subscribers in my second year. And I said, if I get 100,000 subscribers, 100,000, then that is the point where you could legitimately consider doing it as a full-time thing. Because with that number of viewers or that audience, you can either get the ad revenue or get sponsors in place that could, get the income in to live off. So once it hit 100,000, I was like, right, yeah, I'm going to do it. I decided to quit my job as a teacher by my third year, because I felt like I'd hit the ceiling as a teacher. I felt like I'd done everything I could, and I wanted to move on, and I wanted to still live in Japan, but I didn't want to do it by I didn't want to be manacled to Yamagata, manacled to the role of being a teacher. I wanted to go off and be a YouTuber. But yeah, 100,000 subscribers. And I would say that to anybody, even today. Once you've got 100,000 subscribers, then you can consider doing YouTube full time. It's not easy by that point, by any standards.
Yeah, so you're kind of taking a risk there, almost.
It was risky. I'd be I would have been stupid not to. How much would I have beaten myself up if I'd have said, "Oh, I got 100,000, but that's not enough. Better go back to the UK now and eat some fish and chips," and then give up. Like I was like, "No, I came back to Japan on a gap year, not a gap year. What do you call it? A working holiday.
Right.
So I finished my teaching job. I came back on a working holiday, and that was my year in 2016. And I had to take out a big bank loan because I had no money. And I took out a big bank loan and used that to fund the production of videos and fund my life in Japan. It was a pretty tough thing.
Yeah. I imagine you'd have to have. That takes a lot of confidence.
It took a lot of confidence, but more than confidence, it was just regret. That worry. I always worry way more about regretting something than anything else. How would you feel, 50 years old, sitting in a room in London going, I could have had a YouTube channel and lived in Japan for longer. And I would have beaten myself up about that in my imaginary London apartment in the future.
Well, it's good to know that you've, would you say you've made it? Do you feel like you've made it? Or you don't even know what that means anymore?
I don't know what that means. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't say I made it, because, it could all go. The internet could blow up tomorrow and I'll be stuffed.
Like I think you've made it when you've got a nice,
something. Well, I think you've made it once you've got a nice house paid off and you can not do anything and not worry about losing your house. And I'm very far from that. But I'm very lucky and fortunate in the position I'm in. It's been a bumpy road. It took me 4 years before I turned over enough money to really live off without subsidizing it with bank loans or a teacher's salary. Took about 4 years to get to that point. And that's why I say to anybody considering YouTube, got to be careful with it, because it's not an easy pathway and you've really got to be into it. The reason I do it is because I love the process of making a video, right? I don't do it for views. I don't do it for money. I do it because I love the process of scripting, filming and editing. That whole thing. It's just something I love. And if I didn't, then I wouldn't have the motivation to ever do it or put myself through a lot of the things I put myself through to get to this point. You know,
it's all about the journey, what you're saying.
The journey, which I'm still very, I hope.
You're still very what? Sorry, I think the internet cut out there for a second.
I'm still on the journey, but my coffee.
Oh, you're still on the journey. Oh, okay.
Definitely.
You want to get a refill?
I'm all right for now. All right. Maybe do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I like 3 cups of coffee. Radry is not a good Radry. I'll tell you that much. I get like delirious and like I get headaches and things. I can usually only do 2.
When the caffeine wears off, it's an absolute shit show. So I can empathize.
So this is you, Chris, at like 2 cups, 3 cups. Which one are you on?
I'm gonna say 2 cups.
Okay, all right. That's probably ideal, or at least in my opinion.
It runs out.
So I was talking to a friend of the show, Chris Carlier of Mondo Mascots, of which you've collaborated in the past.
Good old Chris.
And he was telling me that even as a big creator, you sometimes struggle making content for YouTube a lot. Can you paint us like a picture of like what kind of challenges come with doing YouTube full time, opposed to like us that just do it as a hobby?
I feel like, for me personally, there's a constant battle between making videos that I want to make and making videos that will do well. Once you reach a certain point doing YouTube, after 7 years in my case, you know what video will do well, right? If you put a gun to my head and said, Chris, increase your turnover by 300% by the end of the year, I'd be like, all right. And I'd go off and make 20 videos about a capsule hotel, more Love Hotel videos, some day in my life videos, following doing some stuff in Tokyo. I'd do all that shit because it's easy. But would I really want to do it? No, probably not. And so you've got to get the balance right. You've got to do what you enjoy. And I know a lot of YouTubers that get burned out from it. You feel like you can't take a break. You don't want to let down viewers. And as the weeks go by, if you don't release a video for 3 weeks, you can feel the heat. Your viewers will be like, where's the video? And you'll feel it here. You'll feel anxious. You feel like, shit, I've got to release something. I've got to do something. So you can never really switch off. Every day I wake up, I go through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you interact with people, you look over the statistics, the comments, you try and speak to as many people as you can. But by doing that, you feel like you never really switch off. I could be in the mountains in the most northern, far-flung, remote place in Japan, but as long as I've got my phone with me and it's switched on, there's no escape. You're very much in the matrix. You're very much plugged in. You're doing it. You're interacting with all these things. And that's my biggest flaw, that I struggle to switch that off and really be in the moment. And I felt like as the years have rolled on, as a creator, as a YouTuber, as an influencer, whatever you want to call it, I feel like I've been less in the moment and life has sped up and become faster and faster. And I'm 30 years old in 2 months. And I don't know where the last 3 years fucking went. They've been a good 3 years generally, but they've gone so fast. Yeah. And being an influencer just puts life on fast forward. So I have a lot of nightmares.
You just call yourself an influencer?
Oh God, what have I done? What have I done? I'm nothing anymore. I have a lot of nightmares where I'm like 80 years old and I'm about to die. And I'm like, oh shit, life went quick. What have I done? And so that's telling me something. That's telling me that I need to be in the moment a bit more. I need to switch off a bit more. Not stop making videos necessarily, but take a step back from social media. And you see that with a lot of YouTubers who do things like Twitter. Twitter's a great place to never feel like you can switch off. And that's why we see people like PewDiePie who've taken a step back from Twitter and YouTube entirely. He's not even on Twitter anymore, is he?
Is he? don't even know.
He's left Twitter because they burned him out, I think. So yeah, it's a tough thing, I guess, but at the same time, I haven't got the right to complain about it because I do live a lucky, great life. Has its ups and downs, but it's pretty good for the most part. So you feel like there has to be a limit on how much you can complain about it, right? Otherwise, just do something else. Get out and go and do something else.
I went on Twitter and I found PewDiePie, and it says his bio says, "I don't use Twitter. This account is just to prevent fake accounts."
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, he switched it off, or he stopped doing it, I think.
Yeah, the burnout is a real thing because whenever I try to like even comprehend or try to, the reason why I don't do J-vlogging content or want to do J-vlogging content is just if I go somewhere, like let's say I go to, I don't know, Takao-san, right? I go to the mountains. Like I just want to enjoy the day. I don't want to like look at this from like a story point of view. You know? I don't know if you ever have that moment.
When I'm traveling with friends, I never normally vlog or do anything, right? I just want to be there. I want to enjoy it. I did vlog the recent Sapporo Snow Festival trip with my friends. I'd myself, Natsuki, Pete from the podcast, Sharla in Japan, and Chaki, my good Japanese friend Chaki. We had a good team of people.
Oh, right. Well, it's like the Avengers.
Well,
you're all meeting up.
Yes, the disappointing Avenger squad. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would have beaten myself up if I hadn't filmed that though, because there's so many good friends there, so many great people. It would have been a shame not to have done it. So I did vlog that, and it didn't get in the way because I used a GoPro for once rather than my big camera with the microphone, all the equipment. I literally took out a GoPro on a stick and just filmed it, and it was so much more relaxing and dynamic. I didn't try to overthink it, and that'll be going on my second channel because it's not this meticulous work of art that's been scripted and planned. It's just it's filmed, and it's a vlog.
Right.
What the second channel's for,
Right.
You're right. It's hard to switch off, and I don't disagree. When you're a vlogger, you can't. It's a difficult thing to just say no. I'm not going to film it. I'm just going to enjoy it.
Right. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about Natsuki. Your I hope you don't mind me saying this. Is he kind of like your Japanese sidekick?
He is. He's right here, isn't he?
Is he?
This drawing somebody did, a viewer. He came to an event, like a meetup event in February last year. They drew this, and you can see Natsuki with the balloons, Ryotaro in a cloud, and me with my hands in my pocket there. Natsuki is a sidekick.
He's like your Chewbacca or something.
He is my Chewbacca.
And you're Han Solo.
Because when Natsuki's drunk, he sounds like Chewbacca. And he's drunk.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think because it's like when you speak to somebody in English. Like I can imagine you talking to Natsuki in English and he'd understand, but maybe he'd speak back to you in Japanese. You know how like Chewbacca always speaks some Wookiee language.
That's a good comparison. I like that. From now on, he will be Chewbacca. I guess he is. Yeah, it's good. Like if it was just about me, I think one of my favorite things about doing this is that I've been able to take Natsuki along for the ride. He's just a guy who works and lives in a very rural place where the internet, I don't even know if the internet's been invented, in that part of Japan yet. And yet he's been seen by millions of people because he's been on the channel and he's come along for the journey for the last 6 years now. I live vicariously through Natsuki's reactions to things, through the way he deals with life. So, I guess he's a sidekick, but he's a big part of the channel.
You were saying on your podcast that you want to make Natsuki famous, right?
Yeah, it's been an aim for years. I said to Natsuki, 4 or 5 years ago, we used to go out every Thursday for yakitori grilled chicken. It was amazing. It was the highlight of the week. We'd go to this little yakitori shop, and we'd sit and eat and drink for 3 hours and talk about life and our future dreams and YouTube. And I always said to him, "Don't worry, we're going to make you famous one day. We're going to do it." And I've tried. I've done what I could. He's been seen by millions. He's got his own unofficial fan club, the Natsuki fan club, and he's got quite a big cult following. He's got 50. I think he's almost got 50,000 followers on Instagram. The last time I checked, as well. Natsuki the Man is his Instagram name, and he always uploads weird photos there. But I think for me that would be like the ultimate dream to give Natsuki some degree of fame that isn't too reliant on the Abroad Japan channel. But whether it will happen or not, I don't know. He's getting on a bit now, and yeah, I'm not so sure we'll ever hit our goal. But we'll give another shot this year. Going to put him at the forefront of more videos and see if we can do it.
Huh? Like, what do you want to make him famous for? Just his personality or his music?
Well,
I mean, like he's a musician, right?
He's a musician, but I think the thing I want to make him famous for is he just brings joy to a lot of people because he is a very unique way of looking at the world. He's very laid back. He's very relaxed. He is somebody who was a wannabe rock star. I think he still is.
Right.
So he just kind of chilled out. And, you know, I found, and a lot of people have found, that if you're having a bad day, you can watch Natsuki just being Natsuki, bumbling around, doing silly things, being quite innocent and naive with the world. And it's quite refreshing, almost like watching a child in many ways, in the same way people like watching children mess around and discover the world. I feel like that with Natsuki. So, yeah, I just find him relaxing to watch. And so I think the world could benefit from that. When the world's all falling apart and everyone's got coronavirus or coronavirus, however it's fucking there'll be Natsuki having a drink, having a laugh, and we can all watch him and all cheer up before we die of coronavirus.
Huh. We're relevant now.
Yes.
You can timestamp this. Like, I'm sure, pretty sure, like, just how, like, swine flu or all those other diseases, you can tell when this interview was recorded.
Definitely.
Okay, so basically, just his personality is what you're saying.
I think so.
Okay.
He has a refreshing personality. And I think a lot of people find him, they just cheer him up. He just cheers them up. So,
okay. Yeah. So my last written question that I had for you was, I always like to end in like a silly question. So on your bookshelf, you have this book on your bookshelf.
Oh, we're the same.
Yeah.
Philosophy book. Big. Yeah. It says the philosophy book. Big ideas simply explained.
Yeah. I mean, I just have this book to look smart. Why do you have it?
It's quite a strange reason, actually. I never really studied philosophy. I always thought philosophy was just something people at Oxford University did round the fireplace and tried to one-up each other with their knowledge of various Greek philosophy.
It's probably true.
Theories and yes, but I bought it because I learned this memorization technique where I could memorize like everything really effortlessly and brilliantly. And I bought this book. My aim was to go through, and I think there's like 250 theories in this book, 250 theories of philosophy or
is there
philosophers or something like that. And I was going to go through every single page and memorize all of them, like when they were discovered or when they were like theorized, who the person was, where it was, all the key details. And you know what? I made it about 20 pages in, and I could recall them from memory. You know,
okay.
What did Plato do? What did Plato do? I could bash out the facts, but then I gave up, and that was the end of that.
Right. Well, I mean,
the story of
there's not that many careers in philosophy, so I think you're fine.
No, but I find philosophy is a great tool for practical application. You know, I had a tough time as a teacher in my second year. I guess I had like a little crisis for a few months. I didn't know what I was doing in Japan for some reason. I didn't know why I was teaching English. I had this moment of, what the fuck am I doing? And there's not a lot you can really do in that situation. I didn't want to tell my friends about it. I didn't want to go to a doctor or a counselor or anything like that. So I just bought some books on philosophy. And I suppose if you're an atheist like I am, you don't really have a framework for life. You don't have anything to fall back on. So I tried to dive into philosophy and try to reset my way of thinking. And after about 2 or 3 months of study, it did work. And that book was actually useless. Didn't help me at all.
It just looked cool and you have it there.
Yeah, it looks good, but it didn't really help me. But I did get some other good books on philosophy that did help. And yeah, philosophy is a great way to work out who you recommend, build a roadmap. What's my favorite book called? There's a great book.
That one you love. What's that thing called?
There's a great book called Philosophy for Life, which talks about applying philosophy practically, as you would a bandage to a wound. There's The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. That's An incredible book, and it draws upon Greek Stoic philosophy. Obstacle is the way, because I think most of us, when we've got a problem in life, we dwell on the problem rather than the solution, and you shouldn't do that. If anything gets in your way, try and work out how to get around it rather than getting depressed about the problem itself. And that's the entire book summarized in a sentence. But it's a great book. Obstacle is the way. Ryan Holiday. I give it to anyone who's having a bad week, or having a bad time.
Huh. All right then. Well, we have some questions from Reddit, because I made a subreddit to like ask questions, and there was another question in the chat here. Where'd that go? I don't know if anybody sent other questions. Where'd that go? Let me find that. It was something about Yamagata. Okay, there. Cathal Zane. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that name right. Kaisidi. Please correct my pronunciation. What is there to do in Yamagata?
Eat cherries.
Eat cherries, really? That's it?
Eat cherries? No, there's loads to do. Yonezawa has some amazing hot springs and some of the best Wagyu beef in Japan. You can get there by bullet train from Tokyo in about 2.5 hours, 2 hours maybe. Yamadera, one of the most beautiful temples in North Japan. It looks like the place from Batman Bruce Wayne trains in Bhutan. You know, the temple that he burns down?
Spoilers. Right.
It looks a bit like that, so I like that. There's Mount Chokai, the tallest mountain volcano in North Japan. Amazing climb. I've climbed it twice, and it's way more fun than Mount Fuji. And Ginzan Hot Springs. A beautiful hot spring, drenched in snow. It's one of the most snowy places in the country. I love it. There's no hot spring quite like it or quite as picturesque. So there's lots of stuff to do in Yamagata. And of course, cherries. Eat lots of cherries.
So I guess if I learned anything, it's go there for the cherries.
Go there for cherries and the winter. Beautiful.
All right. What is it? Femely from the subreddit asks, when is Risotto gonna get his own? Did I read that right? His name is Rotaro, right? How did he get that name?
Somebody referred to him as risotto once, like a risotto, and it's stuck ever since. Begrudgingly, just run with that basically, and now he's risotto. I love it.
I see. They're asking, when does he get his own cooking show?
When hell freezes over.
They said it was a joke. They said, what?
It won't be happening. It won't be happening.
Okay.
Anytime soon.
He likes to cook, right? Or is that not true?
I've never seen him cook. I don't think he can cook in his life. I don't think I've ever seen him cook in his life.
Okay.
I saw him try to brew some sake once, and all he did was blow up the bottle because he overfilled it with sake.
Damn. Okay. He goes on to say, Femely says, seriously though, when did Japan stop being this foreign country and actually feel like home?
I would say second year for me. When I in my first year it was rubbish. Because I didn't know Japanese, I was a bit shy and awkward, and I didn't really get much out of it. I just sat in my apartment in my free time and studied like a maniac. But in my second year, because I knew some Japanese, I had more confidence. I started meeting people like Natsuki. At that time, I got a Japanese girlfriend, and that kind of integrated me into the culture more. But I just started networking more, and I kind of transitioned from feeling like a tourist to being a part of the community by volunteering and getting out and about. And I think that's the main thing. Most people, or a lot of people I know in Tokyo, do get depressed because they just contain themselves in their apartment or keep to themselves. And it can be difficult in the cities in Japan to meet people. Everybody knows it's difficult. But luckily in the countryside, because you are a rarity, people take advantage of that. And once I got out and about and started volunteering, people were like, yeah, Chris, come to this event, come to this, come to that. I remember in my last week, in my third year, there was a local newspaper for the region, and I opened it, and I was on every single page for the first 5 pages for doing something different. Like I'd run an event at an international centre. I'd won a speech contest on the second page. The third page was about some volunteering I'd done at my school. And that was like, wow, this is mental. Not even I realised I'd got so stuck into the neighbourhood and got so stuck into the local area. So to people who don't feel like they are a part of Japan, I would say you have to make Japanese friends to bring you in to the culture a bit more. And you have to make an effort yourself. You have to get out there and network. rather than just sit in a room. And that's the main advice I have.
And make YouTube videos.
I'm making YouTube videos. Do that.
Yeah. By the way, I was watching one of your videos. Not yours. It was the Anime Man's video where you were doing an American accent. That was quite good. I was quite impressed.
Well, I won't be doing it today. Don't get your hopes up.
All right. I'm not asking you to. I'm just letting you know.
I'm doing it in the Teaching in Japan video that's coming out tomorrow.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, because I talk about how we used to have these fucking awful tape recorders. When you listening, you press the play button and it'll play this role play tape, and it wasn't like real American people. It was like American people speaking in slow motion and enunciating everything for the sake of listening practice for the students.
Right.
I tried to mimic that, and it just sounds awful. It sounds like if aliens came down and if aliens landed in Portland in Oregon and tried to mimic the locals in slow motion, that's what it sounds like.
That's how I feel about doing a British accent. So I don't think it's much different. I was saying, actually, another episode of this What Japan show, like the only American I've ever heard do a pretty good British accent is maybe Peter Dinklage in Game of Thrones, but that's about it.
He does a very good British accent. Very convincing.
Worryingly convincing?
He's really good. I thought he was British for a while because he did such a great job with it.
Huh. Interesting. Our next question here is from Sticky Hot Dog. I want to learn Japanese. It's my dream to live and work in Japan for a period of time. Is that a realistic goal if I don't have a university degree?
Oh, it's doable. I had a friend, Regan the vegan. It's clever because it rhymes. And he lived in Nagoya, and he didn't have a degree. He just taught English at Nikaiwa, like a language school. And he made money from that. He lived off it, and he lived happily ever after. Although he ended up leaving Japan because he got bored. But you don't need a degree. It definitely helps. It really does help if you want to be around longer. But if you don't have one or you can't get one, then it's not the end of the world. Don't let that put you off. It's not the end of the world.
Rendev asks, how could someone go to Japan to study Japanese and actually living there?
Language school? Japanese language school?
Just the way you could answer this is very carefully.
I mean, Japanese language school is pricey. It can be pricey, but you get a visa for it, a student visa, and it's quite easy to change from that to getting a full-time job and actually, getting a proper visa. So save up, get a bank loan, get some credit cards, do that. Job done.
Yeah.
Easy.
I'm trying to read this next name. Becca Harv. Do you plan on still making YouTube videos when you're 40 plus, or do you think you'll take a different career path and secure the bag? I don't know what secure the bag means.
I do want to secure the bag.
Do you know what that means?
No, I don't. But I like that phrase. Does that mean to make it? To have made it? To secure? I guess
so.
I don't know.
It sounds something sexual to me, but I don't know.
In what way? How could
I don't know.
Sexual context to use the bag? I don't.
I guess so.
No.
Oh, Mike Mitchell Stuckley in the chat says security bag means secure your money.
I'll secure the money. Well, I'd like to have a house somewhere, probably not in Japan, probably in the UK, pay that off. But like when I'm 40, I don't know. It's hard to know, really. For the longest time, I always saw YouTube as a springboard, right, for getting into the film industry. I'd make a great short film, and then that would launch me, and I would live happily ever after in Hollywood and all that. But I found that with YouTube, you have a lot more creative freedom. If you have got to a certain point, as with this channel, the Abroad in Japan channel, with over 1 million subscribers now, it's got an established audience, and I can do what I want. And in many ways, that's better than, working in film for what I want to do. So, yeah, I don't know, really. We shall see. I think I'll look too horrible and crap by 40 to be on camera, though. I think by that point, I don't think I'll... even now, I'm reluctant to go on camera, but I don't have much choice. I have to deal with it.
Right. Well, it's good for them views. I did a Google search for Secure the Bag, and it comes from a 2017 hip-hop song called I Get the Bag by Gucci Mane, or I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right.
That's going to be a
Gucci
song.
Man.
I know who he is. I know who he is. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I think it is Mane.
Okay.
Fuck it. That's not his real name. He can't be called Gucci. But I
To
imagine it's a
fumble.
great song.
Yeah, no, it says to fumble the bag is to lose the money. The bag you made or to make unwise investments with the money you have already made, i.e. the bag. All right.
Dictionary English. Dictionary
Yeah.
English from Gucci Mane.
You,
I've
you learn
secured the
something every
bag.
day.
I do
Yeah.
want to use the phrase "he fumbled the bag" one day in context. That'd be amazing.
Yes,
Fuck,
yes.
fumble the bag.
Let's see. What's the next one here? Don't mess with toasters asks, what is the best way to find things in Japan while traveling there?
Like what? A
I don't
restaurant?
know. That's all he said. I guess way to find things. I guess go to I guess I can answer this question. Just go to Don Quixote. They have everything there.
Yeah, they do have everything there. I was in there in Sapporo 2 days ago, and it's just insane. 4 stories of awesome. Yeah, go there. Done. Or use Google.
Yeah. The staff
Unoriginal.
aren't very nice. I don't know. Maybe the staff in the countryside are probably nicer, but always in Tokyo, they're terrible. They always seem like they don't want to be there every time I'm there.
Yeah, they don't like being filmed either. You can't film in a Don Quixote without being thrown out a window, as I found.
You speak from experience.
Well, yeah, if you film in Don Quixote, they're like, don't do that. They really don't like it. But other shops like Daiso, the Hyakuen store, brilliant. They love it. They're like, yeah, they've got like a sign on the front door saying take photos, film stuff, have fun. And that's great.
Yeah, I saw that actually. I was like taken back a little bit. Like, wait, what? Does that say what I thought it says? Like, I'm so used to seeing signs that say no photos.
Exactly right. I think it's just good promotion, and as long as you don't get other people's faces in, like most places don't mind that much. Just don't get anyone's face in.
Huh. The Kaito Kid 1205 asks, I assume you probably never have been a teacher in the UK, but could you compare the teaching routine in Japan and the UK? Which one has more benefits and which one is more time consuming? Which one would you recommend? A 5-part question. Thank you, Kaito Kid.
Well, you know what? I'd say the Japanese education system prepares students for Japan very well indeed, right? They come out, they're well disciplined, they stand in line, they're collectivists, they're a group. It does rob you of your individuality, it does rob you of your creativity a bit. If I had a kid, which I probably won't, I would never want to put them through Japan's education system because it would just take their dreams and just put them in a blender. And that's the good thing about the British education system. You are prepared for the world, right? You're prepared to go on and take on the world. You can be placed, you could come out of you could come out of British school and you could end up any country in the world and you could handle it. But I think in Japan, they don't prepare you for the world. They prepare you for Japan, and it's rigid. Which is good and bad. We have low crime here. Low crime, people play by the rules. That's what makes Japan so good. People work hard, they don't cut corners. On the other hand, limited individuality. So
yeah,
roundabouts, really. Swings and roundabouts.
Yeah. All right, so the next question we have here is Endeavor1G2. Well, they wrote me a letter. Hi, Chris. I'm super excited to have this chance to have a 2-part question that's been on my mind for a while now. It is my goal to... I guess so. All right. It's a long one. It is my goal to go to Japan and teach English after I get it fluently with the Japanese language. As the first part of my question is, how welcoming are the Japanese people in schools, both on the staff team and students, to foreign English teachers? In your years of experience, how would you accurately describe the dynamic between both sides of the spectrum being the students and the staff? That's the first part. You want me to read the second part? You want to answer the first one first?
Is the second part related?
I guess. The second part of my question... Okay. The second part of my question is, what do you personally think about the schools that are specifically catered to teach English compared to regular schools? I cannot remember the Japanese name of these specific schools, but I hope to have a good enough description of what they are. Thank you for taking the time to read my question. If it doesn't end up replying to it, I apologize for its length. You better apologize. No, I'm joking. Thank you, Endeavor1G2.
Oh, Lord. That's a lengthy question. What I would say is just watch my brand new video, Teaching in Japan.
There you go. Two birds with one stone.
I'm going to cover that in the video in depth. What I will say is I never had any bad problems, really, at my school. It was ever disrespectful to me personally. I always felt valued. The English teachers that I worked with, the Japanese English teachers, were good, and they never really put me down. Some of them didn't know how to use me, and they just used me as a broken fucking record, repeating the same words over and over for students to listen to and repeat. But for the most part, it was good. And yeah, I think the main problem was, given I lived in the middle of nowhere in rural Japan, where English isn't needed or used, a lot of people did feel like, a lot of students felt like, why is this relevant? Why are we learning English? And they should have spent more time telling students why English is good and why they should learn it, because they don't bother. But yeah, for the most part, it was great. But no, check out my new video. Answers are coming in that video.
Nice. All right. So let's see. I'm trying to read these names. My contact lenses are like getting dirty, so I gotta clean them. Anyway, Magnetomania. Correct me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Having watched all of your videos, listened to the podcast episodes, and being a follower on this on Twitter, I would like to answer. I would answer to your first question on the behalf like this. In an average school, they'll be very welcoming. Wait. This is a response. This is a response. I can't. This is really weirdly worded.
Next question.
Yeah, next question. I'm so sorry, Magnetomania. I don't quite understand this question here.
But thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for writing one. Artichoke 19. Hi, Chris. Love your podcast. Greatly cheered me up. Going on log hikes in the Hertfordshire countryside, listening to Pete and yourself discuss living in Japan. I've also taken up going out on long cycles. Your Cyclocross Japan series was inspirational. I'm a 34 male British and recovering from long-term depressive mental illness, and they left me essentially a hermit, kikikomori, on benefits for now almost 5 years. Wow. I have been sporadically trying to teach myself basic hiragana and kanji someday I'd like to visit and cycle Japan. It's been frustrating slow going, but I'm doing a lot better in general and can see some light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm interested in rebooting my life and career in some capacity. So I am seriously considering getting my CELTA from International House in the Convent Garden in 2020, then going for an English teaching gig in Japan in 2021. Where's your question, dude? Okay, here we go. We got the question. With that in mind, my question is this: what is the current Japanese societal attitude towards people with long-term mental health issues in the workplace? It's become a lot easier to talk about these things at work in the UK in the last few years, but it is a taboo subject. Or is it a taboo subject or an otherwise social faux pas / bad idea to bring up in a polite conversation with colleagues with your boss? He goes on, but I think that's his basic question.
Well, first of all, good to hear that he's recovering from what sounds like a bad period of his life. I'd say, definitely go for that cycle. I find nothing quite cures a bad period in life than traveling and having a fresh perspective, running away from your troubles effectively. So the idea of getting on a bicycle and cycling across Japan, I think that'd probably be a great cure for any depression, to be honest.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree? If I was having a bad time, if I felt depressed right now, I would just stop everything, hop on a bike and cycle across somewhere like the inland sea of Japan, the Shimanami Kaido, and just forget about everything.
Yeah, that is true. Sometimes the great thing about travel is that it really forces you to think about new things and how to approach new things.
Yeah, you get a new perspective, don't you?
Yeah, because you have to let's say you get off a plane in China or something. Hopefully not right now, but you get off on the plane in China and you're like, okay, how the hell do I deal with all this? How do I get to my hotel? It was a struggle when I first went to Shanghai. But yeah,
I remember when I went there. Yeah, it was pretty intense, but yeah, I think it's a good way to shake you off course and drag you off somewhere new. But what I will say is, don't necessarily, if you are having a bad time, you're depressed, don't just think that working in Japan as a teacher or something like that is your get out of free jail card, get out of jail free card. Sorry, it might exacerbate the problem. I know people that come here to teach and they are depressed back home. They think, if I come to Japan, I teach, it'll cure all that. And it probably won't. It might make things worse. It could exacerbate the problem. Go on a holiday for sure, but working is a different ballgame, and just be careful with that. And they don't really handle mental health issues well in Japan, do they?
They really don't.
I remember when I was having a tough time in my second year, I didn't want to tell anyone. I'd probably be thrown in a plane and sent back to the UK, just because I thought they don't know how to handle it. So no, it's not really a thing. But problems in Japan, you just have to shut up and keep them to yourself. Sadly, it's not good.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. I mean, where I work, there's a mental clinic right next to me, but I'm not sure if it'd be very effective. I don't know. I don't know too much about this. I should get somebody who's. What's that?
I remember hearing from somebody, a friend of a friend, who was depressed and had anxiety, and they went to a specialist Japanese doctor who dealt with mental health, and he literally just said, "You should be more happy," and that was like his advice. And it's like, oh yeah, all right then, I'll just be more happy. Fuck you. Like it's not dealt with here well, so bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. Just go on a holiday in Japan, but don't work here necessarily. If you do have strong mental health issues, bad mental health issues, it might not help.
I have some weird comment in the chat. Feel free to answer this however you want.
Sure.
Green Cyclist says, "Can you ask Chris if he's still in Tokyo Creative, and if Japan is accepting his sexual orientation when he first arried?"
What does that mean?
I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe do you identify as trans privately?
I'm heterosexual, and so I was fine. No problem there. Am I still with Tokyo Creative? Yeah, I do stuff with them. Obviously, they had a transition period last year, which means Chris Okino left the company and moved to Korea. But for some reason, didn't feel the need to make a video or tell anyone about that. You know what? I've had people for fucking months going, "What's going on with Tokyo Creative? What's going on with Tokyo Creative?" And I'll tell you, because I'm fed up, because Chris Okino didn't fucking say anything about it, right? If you were leaving a company, at least tell people. If you build a company around yourself for 2 years, right, and then you just disappear one afternoon, you think you'd be like, "Oh, we had a management falling out, and then I moved to Korea. Bye." And then that'd be it. But instead, he just disappeared. He didn't say anything. And then everyone's just been asking me every day for 6 months or a year now, or whatever it is, what happened to Tokyo Creative? And that's what happened. You know, he just went to Korea. Now, Chris is a good friend of mine. I still like Chris. But I feel like he should have handled that better. Because a lot of people felt like he thought he owned Tokyo Creative, but he didn't.
Right.
The CEO, right? But Tokyo Creative still exists. It's more shrunk down now. It's more down to a core group of staff, but it's still doing stuff, and I still work with them, and I like the people that work there. But it's changed from what it was going to be. Chris had a good vision. Credit where it's due to him. He had a decent vision. He wanted to turn it into something really big and special, but that didn't happen. I think he had a falling out or a disagreement with the owners, and that was that. And they cut the staff down from double digits to single digits, I think.
Whoa.
And, yeah, but it's still going by, and it's still the thing I like Tokyo Creative for. And they are good. I mean, there's some great people that work there. Really nice people, friends by all accounts. And the reason I like Tokyo Creative was I could go to Tokyo, right?
Yeah.
And I'd be making a video, and I don't have a cameraman, and I could be like, "Hey guys, can you help me film this?" And then they'd send someone to help me film it. And that's what I liked about Tokyo Creative. And they still do that sometimes. But as I said, their staff numbers are a bit more refined. But I think they're focused now on making a profitable company rather than just making a brand that wasn't sure what it was doing. So
right. John Misha in the chat asked, "Do they still give visas?" I didn't know they gave visas.
So no, they give visas either.
I wouldn't know that either. Wrong person to ask, John. Sorry.
I don't deal with that side of stuff, so I wouldn't know that. But no, they're good though. They've helped me a lot in the past. They helped me with Journey Across Japan. Without TC across Japan would never have happened. So for that, I'm grateful, and I'll always be grateful for that. And I'll always help them wherever I can for that reason.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a different company now to what it was in many ways.
All right. Chris, real quick, how are you on time? I want to respect your time here.
Yeah, I'm right. No.
Can we do a few more questions? Or
yeah, sure. Go for it.
Okay. Ian Cluro asks, "We visited Japan for the first time." This is from the chat, by the way. For the first, we visited the first. Let me read it again. Fuck. We visited Japan. Yeah, I need some coffee or something. We visited Japan for the first time last summer. Did your suggested trio of Tokyo, Kyoto, and Hiroshima before discovering you even? what would you suggest for the next time? We loved it. I don't know if you wanted to say it that way, but
That's a good question. I don't know. I'd go north maybe. Tokyo, Sendai, Hachinohe, Aomori City, Hakodate, and Hokkaido, Sapporo. Time fly from Sapporo to Fukuoka and go down there for a bit. But go north, try something new, head up north, have a bit of an adventure, a bit more off the beaten path, do something.
There's a hidden treasure.
Yeah, hidden treasure. But no, go north. That's the next thing to do, right? Or go into
Right.
central Japan, like Gifu and Takayama. But yeah,
Huh.
go north.
Sent Over Summer asks, "Hi Chris, love your channel and your podcast. Love listening to you and P go back and forth. You always have me laughing. Thanks for bringing back Speedy Japanese." So I guess they like that segment. I know you had some contention about that segment.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we brought that back. It's basically just a section where we just bash out some Japanese vocabulary, and I teach Pete like 3 or 4 Japanese words. And I took it out because I thought, oh, people don't like this.
Right.
And everyone was like, where's Speedy Japanese gone? Do it again, do it again. So I put it back in, and now everyone's happy. So
There are like
careful.
good Speedy Japanese words I can think of that are really useful, like betsu betsu.
We do it in context, really. So whatever we've discussed in the news, we'll teach words. Like we had the last one was on Sapporo Snow Festival. So I taught people the noun for snow, yuki, things like that.
Oh, that's right.
Nouns usually, not complicated grammar, just simple nouns that you can learn and then go out and use right off the bat.
Huh. Yeah. I see. Anyway, he's saying, "I used to work in Japan myself in Fukushima and up in the mountains, and it was the best experience of my life. It was at a place called British Hills."
Oh, wow. I've always wanted to go there. Is that
a real place?
A British theme park in Fukushima.
You should do it. I mean, that's
a
Japan video, right? Wait, what?
It's just a British theme park. Type it in British Hills, Fukushima, and it's like Harry Potter in a mountain side in Fukushima. It's so random. I don't know what it's for. I think it's for teaching English and having weddings. I've never, but I'd love to go. I think it'd be quite funny.
Yeah,
it's a pretty remote place, and I'd need to rent a car to get there, and it's a lot of effort.
It's like, what is it? I'm looking at it right now. It's like a castle or something.
It's like an estate, a huge estate. With a
Here, I'll share it with the audience. I can do that. Here.
Awesome.
Shoot, I can't really see it. Hold on. I gotta switch this thing. The old switcheroo. Yeah, here it is. British Hills.
Huh.
That's guess
the tackiest looking castle I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is a little tacky. Oh, that's kind of cool. Looks like Harry Potter.
Doesn't it? I like the pub. The pub looks cool.
Yeah.
It looks like it's modelled on a castle I used to
work. Did I miss the pub? Where'd they go?
Down. It's there.
Oh, this one. Is that a pub? It just looks like a meeting area.
That's not a
pub. Maybe this is terrible for audio listeners. We're looking at pictures of this weird British Hills Museum thing.
There it is, the black and white building. That is it.
This?
Yeah, that's the old.
Oh, okay, that's the pub. Okay.
Pub. That I don't know what's in it, but I want to find out.
Huh.
I'll try and get it down on my hit list for this year. I'll try and check it out. The thing is, it's the sort of place where I'd need permission to film, and then if I go and it's shit, I can't really be like, "Oh, this is awful," because they'll have given me permission and they'll want to check the video. So I think that's the main reason I've not done it until now. Risky.
Oh, I see.
And I don't think.
Let me finish. I haven't even got to his question yet. My question, I guess this is his question. My question is have you heard of British Hills? We just answered that. Yeah. If not, I would love to see a former English teacher in Japan go there and do a review of it. Well, thank you, Sent Over Summer.
We'll give it a shot.
Yeah, they have a lot of weird things here in Japan like that. Like these weird, like these abandoned theme parks you can go to, or like semi-abandoned ones.
I think I saw a Canadian theme park. There's a Canada theme park in Hokkaido in the news once, and there's a one for the Netherlands in Kyushu. Although I think that's relevant because the Netherlands, the Dutch did turn up to Kyushu, right, in the 15th, 16th century. British Hills has no historical value. It's just somebody thought, yes, let's build something that looks like a castle here and teach English.
The rest of the comment says, when I was working there in 2014, a Japanese TV station did come and film a review show. It's featured in the action Owanon High School Host Club movie and hosts English language camps for English students of Kanda University of International Studies and Kanda Institute for Foreign Language. The facility is also a field trip destination for high schools and elementary schools.
Jesus.
The hotel / educational facility is there to help improve the students' English skills, and it's placed close to my heart. So please check out the British Hills in Fukushima if you haven't already. I guess he probably wouldn't talk that way.
Well, yeah. I know where I'm going for my birthday. British
yeah, I would like to see that video.
Let's do it. I'll do it.
Next question from a fallen 182. When you started as an ALT, was it lonely / easy to make friends?
Easy, because you know loads of other ALTs around in the local area. There were 80 other foreign teachers in Yamagata alone, and there were 20 within a half an hour radius. So my first year, I hung around with loads of other ALTs, other foreigners, and then second year, I made Japanese friends, and I sort of spent more time with them. So yeah, you're never that lonely really, unless you choose to be actively. It's pretty good. There's a good place. There's a good kind of network in place.
Right. Yeah. Daryl Meanley asks, how did your friends, family, and colleagues react when you told them you were moving to Japan?
I think disbelief and confusion, because I'd never really had much of a tangible interest in Japan in the sense of the culture. Like, I never cared about Japanese martial art or anime or manga or anything like that. My interest in Japan was just because I thought it was this technological, wonderful place. I was interested in the sense that the culture was so unique and different. But there was not really any tangible reason for me to want to go to Japan that my friends and family knew about or had seen. So they were surprised that I just decided to randomly fuck off to the other side of the world and go and live in Japan, I think. But I think they were happy to just get rid of me more than anything.
Okay. Huh.
Gone. Yay. Wine.
Here's a very well, you can answer this one if you want. Brandon Popovich asks, how do you get the money to be able to do what you do?
Well, ad revenue and Patreon mainly, I guess. As I said, the first 4 years didn't really make any money from YouTube, and I had to subsidize everything with my teaching salary. And then in the fourth year, took out a nice big bank loan, which I paid off relatively quickly once things had got up and running. And then after that, ad revenue from YouTube and Patreon has been invaluable. I've got a pretty strong Abroad in Japan Patreon community. I dedicate a fair bit of time to that, to making exclusive videos, behind the scenes stuff, so they feel like they're in the loop. And I'm proud of that. But yeah, it's the combination of those things. And merchandise, which is made about $5. I've been selling merchandise for 3 years now.
Yeah,
I did right at the start, but it's kind of faded off, and I've never promoted it, and not that bothered about that really.
Are you much? I was going to ask you this. Are you much of a coffee snob, or is any kind of coffee fine?
No,
you'll drink Boss, you'll
really.
drink. Okay,
I'll drink whatever I need to stay awake.
So you're okay with the canned coffee? Because I personally can't stand that stuff. Unless I'm desperate for coffee, I'll drink it.
It makes me physically sick now.
Does it?
When I was a teacher, I used to just get out the vending machine as I ran into the classroom, downed it, and then taught mediocre English for 50 minutes. But as I said though, making money as a YouTuber, it's not easy. It takes a lot of time, and you should never start YouTube with the aim of making money. You should start with the aim of making videos that get viewed and people can relate to, and go from there. I've been very lucky though. It's taken a long time, but it's worked out pretty well in the last few years, I guess. Hard work. It's worked out.
Right. So our next question comes from Haze 24 Would you still recommend teaching English in Japan after making your original video, as salaries are relatively low and the industry has changed? Is something you would still recommend to others if someone was interested?
Oh, hell yeah, for sure. Especially the JET program. It's true there are lots of
Sorry, Huzzah 24. Continue, sorry.
Huzzah. There's lots of dodgy teaching programs in Japan. you've got to be careful where you end up teaching. But the JET program is certified by the Japanese government. It's run by the Japanese government. The other one's quite good. Interac is a privately run one. That's supposed to be quite good. They're the ones that have like things put in place to make sure it works well. So yes to JET program, definitely. I never regretted it once in the 3 years that I did it. And that's something I'll talk about in the upcoming Teaching English video that I've plugged so heavily during this live show.
Right. Well, I guess we
quite
have to see it now. If you don't see it, then what are you doing with your life?
Answers are coming. But yes,
all right.
teaching English in Japan, it's all right. It's pretty good.
So FT02 asks, how do you overcome loneliness in Japan? Have you ever visited? I guess this is a two-part question. There's not even a period in it.
Right.
How do you overcome loneliness in Japan? Have you visited Japanese brothels?
Because going to a brothel is the only way to overcome loneliness. No, in my first year I was lonely a fair bit. And when I first moved to Sendai as well, because I had no friends in Sendai, because I lived in Yamagata for 3 years. Then I moved to Sendai, and I pretty much started from scratch. The only person I knew was Ryotaro, and he's off running around too much, so I could spend time with him. But no, certainly in my first year, there were times when it was my first time living alone in an apartment. I'd never done that. I'd lived with my family, and then at university, I lived in a house with 4 or 5 other students. So suddenly I'm sitting in the middle of nowhere in North Japan, and it's just quiet, and it's weird. Nobody's knocking on my door. I remember I got home from work once at like 5 p.m. and I sat on my sofa and I dozed off and fell asleep. And before that point, every other day in my life, I would have been woken up by a housemate at university, or I would have been woken up by my family. But this time I woke up about an hour later, 6:30, and I was just me alone in the apartment again. I was like, oh, this is odd. Nobody's waking me up anymore. I'm just here on my own. And that was a bit lonely and sad. But the trick is just put on some sitcoms, put on some comedy shows from your own home culture, or something that you love. Like in my case, I just put on British TV and had that in the background at all times when I was cooking or just sitting around. And that made me feel like I wasn't just in a room alone, falling asleep on the sofa over and over.
Yeah. Okay. So next question here says subject. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get through these. Maybe it seems like I'm lightning rounding these questions. I'm taking this I'm taking it seriously.
We've got some good questions here, so it's good to go through them. Definitely.
Subject scarcity asks, hi Chris, my question is about visiting Japan in summer. I'm a kindergarten teacher in Germany and have my holidays sent out for me by the director. They're not as long as regular school days, but my main holiday is 3 weeks in the summer, August. My boyfriend and I visited Tokyo in October 2018, and it was amazing. And ever since, we wanted to go back to other parts of Japan. But now, with my current holiday situation, it seems that only August is doable for us if we want a longer trip. You've spoken before about the hot, humid summers with me being Irish and him English. We're not used to that kind of weather at all. Would you advise against visiting in August? My boyfriend doesn't. Yes, I would. Yes, definitely don't come during August. Boyfriend doesn't cope well with heat at all. I'm totally fine to embrace the heat as I think it'll still be worth it. Thanks for reading, Colliette.
I hate Japan in August. I tend to leave and go to like somewhere that's not Japan because it's
Australia or something.
Well, yeah, I mean it's so hot and humid. There's no escape. If you don't handle heat well, then you couldn't pick a worse place, really, given Japan's insane humidity. It's like, imagine going in a sauna or a steam room, right? Going in a steam room, and then you can't escape the steam room unless you get into an air-conditioned building. That's what it's like. It's like being in an oven. It's horrible. So no, don't come in August. I don't enjoy it. The only place that's nice and cool in August is the peak of Mount Fuji. So it's a great time to climb Mount Fuji, to be honest, to escape it. But other than that, no, I can't really recommend it, unfortunately. Maybe Hokkaido's
yeah. No, during that time in Japan, it's like you either find an air conditioner or you die.
Even at night, right? Like 3 a.m., it's still like 40 degrees sometimes. So, yes, bear that in mind. Unpleasantly hot.
3 a.m. You're up that late? Jesus.
Definitely. I love running around at 3 a.m. That's why
okay. All right. Noted. G44B4 asks, when was the last time you were hungover?
What day is
What a
it?
weird question, but all right. Yeah, sure. It's a question. I don't know if it's
2 days
really
ago. 2 days ago, I'd say. In Sapporo.
okay.
Yes, I
Oh,
drank a lot then. Given I had lots of friends around, we drank a lot of strong zero, and given it is the most potent drink on in the world, like, yes, it does leave a nasty hangover. Bear that in mind if you take the risk of drinking strong zero.
I've never
Never
actually
ended
tried Strong Zero.
Saw
Yeah, I
that.
know.
You got to try it.
Okay.
It'll blow your
I'm
mind.
not that much into drink. I don't drink that much alcohol. I mean, maybe I drink with my
Probably a good thing.
friends, but that's about it. Ooh. Was it XX _
Bang a
What?
drum.
Bang a drum? No, I hit the little thing on here.
Oh, right.
The audio. What's this thing called? The arm.
Right. I thought it was some sort of radry drum. I thought it was some
Yeah.
sort of
No, I just like some
ritual.
sound effects here or something. Anyway, yeah, moving on. XX Joe V42 XX or underscore X. Anyway, how is it to make friends in Japan? How would you describe the experience and relationships?
It can be tricky. It can be tricky to meet Japanese someone who's like. I mean, most of my Japanese friends, I realise, they're all entrepreneurs or business owners, and they're all in between 40 and 50. Like Natsuki or Ryotaro or my other friend Yuki, they all tend to be the same. They're all kind of eccentric individuals that speak a bit of English or very good at English. I look for people that are a little bit different, because Japanese can be very polite and shy, but it can be difficult to break through and actually get to really know them. You know what they think and feel. They can be quite reserved and held back. So I look for people who I just have that kind of, I just click with. I ran into Natsuki at a street. I met Ryotaro at a networking event, and I met Yuki at a dinner. But you know, I never go looking for friends. You just meet them, don't you? And so what I would say is just go out, network, try and go to more things, and you'll just meet people you click with. And that's the same for anything in life when it comes to making friends, really. Get out there and meet people.
Huh. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
it's the same everywhere. I can't pronounce this next name.
You're having real trouble with these names. They are pretty complicated.
Well, the contacts are a little dirty. I need to change them out. Bad timing. Anyway, Hantana Kataro. I can't do this. It's like I don't know what it is. It's always like it's Japanese. It's like Japanese and Romaji. It always trips me up. Like I have to look at it. Like if I look at it in hiragana, easy. But if I look at it in like Romaji, I'm like, okay, how do I pronounce this again? That's a nightmare. But anyway, this guy, thank you for sending your comment. Hi, Chris. I love abroad in Japan. I am a Japanese living in the U.S. One of the things I love here is a political joke. A show like Real Time with Bill Maher or Saturday Night Live doesn't exist in Japan. I never lived in the UK, but I loved Ricky Gervais, and I believe that the culture is similar to the US. And in my opinion, all comedy shows in Japan are for children, and the quality is awful. Japanese have a strong aversion to it because they think that you shouldn't make fun of something serious. It would be great if you inject a little bit more political element in your show in a little funny / cynical way. For example, a joke about Korea / China relationship is still taboo in Japan. I wonder if the UK comedian can make a joke about IRA. Thank you.
The IRA.
I don't know if this is really a question, more of just a statement.
A really weird comment. I get what they mean about the Japanese humor is quite different. It's very much slapstick based, isn't it? Most Japanese TV humor.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really. I'm British humor and Japanese humor don't really mix well. That's why I've never tried to aim my videos at Japanese viewers, because I don't think they'll get it necessarily unless they speak fluent English.
Right.
Most Japanese viewers, when they see me talking to someone like Ryotaro, I think I'm incredibly rude, because that's not something you do. But I don't think I'll be making jokes about Korea, China, and Japan anytime soon.
Yeah,
bit of a niche subject and a touchy subject.
I've looked into this myself actually, and yeah, you don't get what's the phrase? You don't get many flies with honey, or many flies with vinegar or something. Shit, somebody help me out here.
Definitely not. You don't get many flies without vinegar. Brilliant.
There you go. But
I'm going to use that as well as the bag. What was it? Slip
there
the
you go.
bag earlier.
Secure the bag.
Secure the bag. Yeah. Another great saying today. 2 great sayings. I walk away from this podcast video with lose the bag or whatever it was, and you don't get flies without vinegar.
There you go. Or no, the phrase goes something like you can get more flies with honey than you can get with vinegar. That's the phrase.
Right. All right.
And I think what the thing is, when you talk about political stuff in Japan, it just doesn't get much respect because not a lot of people want to talk about it. I don't know because it's something that's serious. I think it's just something that maybe it is. It's just something that's serious. They don't want to talk about it. Anyway, we have 3 more. We only have 3 more questions here, so I don't know how you are in time.
Just shoot through them.
Calzante asks, "What do you think is the best thing to do in Sakata?"
The town where I used to live. Crikey, there's nothing in Sakata. There's some nice restaurants, but there's not a whole lot there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fuck, what is there? Just go for a drive. Rent a car and go for a drive in the mountains around the area. Or there's a big volcano overlooking Sakata, 2,200 meters. It's the tallest volcano in North Japan. You can drive up it and get an incredible view of the sea and all the mountains. And I recommend that. Go up there. It's amazing.
Huh.
Or some Buddhas. There's a beach called Judokurakan, literally the 16 Buddha heads. And it's a beach.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. You posted that in one of your videos, right?
They've carved like 16 Buddhas into the rocks overlooking the sea. And that's actually on the way to the mountain. So you can do both in one day and live happily ever after. Do that.
Calzante also asks, will you be going to the Tokyo Creative Meetup on the 22nd of February?
No.
20.
I did. I only found out about that like yesterday. I didn't know that was a thing. But no, I won't be going. I'll be. I don't know where I'll be actually. I might be in Tokyo, but no, I won't be going to that. But there's food, so you should go. Must be good.
It says, "Hey Chris." Oh no, who's the person who sent this? Anime boy. Hey Chris,
anime boy.
Yeah. It's before he evolved. Hey, Chris, do you have any advice for people who want to live and work in Japan? Arigato.
Come in as an English teacher because it's the easiest way, and it's what 90% of people coming to Japan do. And then once you've established a network and you've saved some money, you can slip easily into other fields. You can do IT, recruitment consulting, social media, operations. There's loads of stuff you can do. But it's easy to get in as a teacher and then go from there and start looking for other jobs after a year or 2. So I always say that. Get in as a teacher and go from there. Yeah.
So there's some follow-up questions here. You sure you got time?
Yeah.
All right, there's 3. This person also asked...
There was 3 questions 3 questions ago.
Yeah, well, there's like...
Magic.
They're blue. I didn't know if because there's one person who deleted their comment, and I'm guessing I probably shouldn't read if they deleted it. Yeah. And then there's these blue ones where they made a response to their own response.
Oh my lord!
So I don't know if you want to answer these. It says I found everywhere I went to eat in Japan, the service and the quality standards are just plain higher than in the States. Even in the most basic restaurants, you can have a great meal on the cheap. Have you ever had a bad meal in Japan? Outside of trying odd dishes that aren't your tastes. By the way, I tried the Korean chicken place in Shinjuku you mentioned. Amazing.
Oh, cool. I love that place. You know what? Not really. The only thing I've had that's made me feel sick is natto. You know, that fermented rice, the most common Japanese thing. Everyone eats it. It smells awful, but I had to do a challenge where I had to eat like a whole fucking bowl of it once. It was like an induction thing for the jet program. It was ridiculous. And I was like instantly sick. It was horrible. I can't eat that. But that's not a meal. And I've never had a bad restaurant meal in Japan. Honestly, I haven't. In 7 years, I can't think of a single time I went, oh, that was awful. But yeah, I went to China for 2 weeks and I could think of loads of meals that were awful. Because in China, there's you've either got an incredible meal with something amazing or you go somewhere that's just shit. I remember going in somewhere and some guy just literally chopped up a chicken and just threw it on a plate. And it was like, what's going on? Why is this a thing? So no, Japan's really good for that.
Yeah.
No matter where you go, you'll always have a good meal and good service. Like, it's very rare to have bad service.
Yeah, agreed. Puggy Boo asks, "What kind of?" This is kind of a lame. That's just their name. It's the internet.
Sounds like something you'd call like your girlfriend or boyfriend as a nickname, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go. Kind of a lame question, but this summer I want to go to a language school in Japan. It will be the first time I will be living away from my family. What advice would you give somebody like me?
Just use Skype a lot.
Use Skype a lot, yeah.
No, I mean,
just stay connected. Yeah, that's smart.
I can't give much advice to people who suffer from homesickness, given I've never really have. Not that I don't like my home; it's just I like it here more. It's more adventurous. But just Skype your family often. Even though I'm in the mountains of Japan, I'm where with 1 bar signal on my phone, I can still message my family on Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp. And so you never feel that far away, really. Even if you are the other side of the world, you can quickly contact anyone in the world so effortlessly these days that you never feel truly detached, unless you lose your phone, in which case you're fucked. And then you're really, don't do that.
Yeah, I can't even remember life before iPhones in Japan.
Christ, it must have been terrifying.
Oh, no, it was tough. I mean, especially like when you got, because I was here in 2009, I had one of those Garake phones, the ones where you're flipped.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like they'd always send you maps, and you'd always have to figure out ways, like what way you're supposed to be looking at the map. Up, down, left, right.
If it wasn't for Google Maps, I'd be face down in a ditch by now. I wouldn't be here. So thank God for technology and maps and phones. Yeah.
All right, so last of the Reddit comments, Spooker231 asks, "Hi, I recently got an offer to study in Japan, and I would like to work there after graduating. However, I came to know the work culture in Japan is horrible. Is that actually true? Would you recommend people to go to Japan to live and work there as a foreigner? Main thing about Japan is that I like the friendly and helpful people. Hopefully, work culture won't get too much in the way. P.S. I really love your videos. Awesome." I don't know. The way you wrote that made it sound that way.
I would never work for a Japanese company. The end. No, I'd only work for a company in Japan if they had they'd either had overseas experience with the work culture outside Japan, or if it was run by foreigners, because the Japanese work culture is brutal. There is no clear line between work and life. There is no balance, from what I know. I don't know many people working in Japanese companies that have that balance. It's quite rare. So be aware of that. Be careful who you work for, because you might have to spend 5 days a week going out after work, drinking loads of beer with your colleagues, and you will probably never get much free time. I know a lot of people that can't even take holiday because it's bad to take holiday in Japan, right? You're seen as the weak worker. And many people here don't leave, have their whole year, and they still have their 20 days work holiday, their 20 days work leave still intact because they don't use them. Because you suddenly, when you leave work, you're seen as letting down your colleagues, right? If you take 2 weeks off, it's a big deal in Japan. You're letting down your colleagues, you're causing problems. So most people don't, and that's a really big problem. That's a real shame. But no, I would have a hard time working for a Japanese company. And so be careful who you work for here, because it could end very badly indeed.
Yeah, I can second that. Be careful who you work for here.
Who you work for now's all right, right? You're okay now, aren't you?
English teaching's simple. I mean, that's why I probably still do it. It's simple, and it doesn't demand too much from you like a normal. If you worked at Sony or any of these big name places, a realistic look for you would be you finish at 12 at midnight, or no, you take the last train, maybe not midnight. You take the last train, and then you get home, and then you have to wake up at 5 a.m. to catch first train. That's how horrible it is.
That's not the dream. No.
Yeah, it's not a dream. I mean, unless you really love working at Square Enix or Sony or any of these big name brand companies, unless you get a lot of kick out of it, then do it. But yeah. I know that was a question for you, but that's just my 2 cents added to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important to hear these things, for sure.
Let's see. We had another question in the chat asking if you wanted to ever do a collab with Tokyo Lens or Tokyo Sam.
I mean, I do stuff with him every now and then. I don't know. I've been in his videos a few times.
Yeah.
Norm's all right. He's a good lad. We often hang out. I saw him just last week in Roppongi we met up for half an hour and had a coffee in front of
really?
Tower. Yeah, he's cool. I'm sure we'll do something at some point. I've never met Tokyo Sam.
Yeah.
We've spoken a few times on Twitter. He's seems like a cool guy. We've got a few mutual friends as well. So
right.
I like his. He's into the same sort of music as I am, like vaporwave and retro wave, and so that's cool. Yeah, seems like a down to earth bloke.
Huh.
I know he's a polarizing figure, though. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
You either love him or hate him. But I haven't met him, so I can't say.
Right.
I'm sure he's all right.
Okay, so I guess we'll finish up here. I put up a few these videos I want to get your reaction to.
Oh God.
I don't know if you've seen any of these. I showed one of them in my last live stream. I don't think you watched it, so I think it's okay for me to show you because I don't think you saw it.
Probably not.
Anyway, yeah, I'll push play and let me know if you've seen this. Here, how do I change this? Okay.
Suspense is killing me.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, play. All right.
So it's a car driving down a road in England, and whoa, shit. Oh my God. That's insane. The car hit a wall, flipped over, and the first person perspective just really made that quite special. The guy, but he's all right. Oh, okay. No. So the reason he flipped is because a guy coming towards him tried to overtake a car, so he swerved and.
Yeah, no.
He took it rather well for the other guy, didn't he?
Yeah, no. I was because I was watching this video and I'm like, this is the most British thing I've ever seen. Like the what he says is like, well, that was fucking like it's even titled, that was fucking scary. I'd be freaking out.
I suppose British people, we don't have the best reactions. Never watch a reaction show with British people because we're just like, oh yeah, we're quite stoical and we don't like react much. Americans are much more like, whoa, holy God, shit, fuck, what was that? Whereas we're like, oh yeah, the thing happened, didn't
it? What the part where he says right here? No, not right here. Where was it? Where was it? He's like, that was fucking scary. No, he just that's uninjured. Let me go back a bit. Anyway, there's another one I wanted to show you too. I don't know if you've.
But I didn't see that one.
You never saw this one before? Yeah.
Never.
That's an interesting take on it. Let me pull up the other one. Trying to hide the title to, increase the tension, quote unquote.
Increase the surprise.
The surprise. There you go. This is the last one. Trying to share this. Okay. All right.
Oh God.
Oh no, you can't hear it. Damn it. Where's the sound? Oh, here it is. You maybe know this guy. He's an actor, I think.
Let's have a look. I know where this is going. 4 faggots in rich sauce. So this is a British food product. It's like ground down meat into a bowl.
This still exists.
Yeah, I don't know who the fuck eats them because I've never seen. I've just seen them on the shelf. But I remember in a hate mail video once, somebody called me a faggot. And I hate the word faggot. It just sounds so just awful. Just a bad word. It just sounds weird. Somebody called me a faggot. So I read that out and then I pulled out that product. I kind of referred to that product because a lot of Americans don't know that is actually a mediocre product in the UK. It's not just an offensive insult. It's a really crappy product.
Is it kind of like spam in the United States?
Yeah, it's like spam.
Okay.
With an awkward name. Awkwardly named spam. In rich gravy sauce.
I will finish the video here. Do you know who this is? This actor?
Oh, I've never seen this man. No. He loves those faggots, though. I can't believe I just said that. Just faggots in gravy. Burger.
Anyway, Britain's faggots advert. Anyway, I don't want to be here all
Next
day.
time in the UK, get some faggots.
Yeah. All right, Chris. That's pretty much it for today. Anything you want to say before we go?
No. Subscribe to the Broad Japan channel and watch the new teaching video. Given that there seems to be so many questions about it, should be up on Sunday, which means it'll probably be up on Monday. But yeah, check it out. But thanks for watching and listening, guys. No matter where you might be out there in the world.
Yeah, thanks for joining the chat or people who sent their questions. It was a lot of fun. So next week here on Why Come Japan, BLK UNK will be on the show. Blunk Unk is his name. He's been making videos forever. It'll be a person-in-person interview. It won't be one of these through the internet, but but sometimes you have to do person-in-person or what is it, internet videos, because what do you call this, live stream through
Hangout live stream,
live streams. I don't know. I had some people tell me, like, I don't want to listen to the show if the person's not there, they're not physically there. I'm like, oh, okay, but
it worked pretty well.
I think this worked great personally.
It was like you were in my ears for the last 2 hours, for better or worse. Yeah, worked out pretty well, quality wise. So, God bless Japanese speedy internet.
Yeah.
What so London? This wouldn't work in the UK.
You don't think so?
Oh fuck no! The internet there's dreadful.
Well, like, what's the upload speed there? Is it really low?
Shit, nothing. There's just nothing. It's terrible. It's really bad. Yeah. God bless Japan's internet.
All right. So yeah. Until then, I'm Radri and
I'm Chris. Have a good one.
Bye. Have a great morning, afternoon, night, whenever you're listening to this. Bye.